Michelle Caruso-Cabrera, MCC Global Enterprises contributor and former colleague, also joining us on set. Michelle, we brought you to talk about trade and tariffs, but I'm glad I have all these smart voices around me on a day like today. I think to Eamon's point, which is a good one, let's say a super pro-Trumper now is put in this new job. Why would we trust the jobs data on the other side? 1 million jobs created every month, right? Which we also know is not true. Why would we trust this data at all?
Which is the issue, right? When we see the situation. What I would say is what we're lucky about is that we have markets. And markets are very difficult to manipulate at sizes like this, right? So if it becomes clear to investors and to market participants that the data that comes out of the BLS is not to be trusted in their view, and the BLS is BS, then we're going to know it and they're going to ignore it, right? I mean, I think the market playing out in the last 24 hours has really been super important because we kind of thought, you know, to Joe, the question you asked Joe Livornia, kind of thought most of this tariff stuff was done. We were getting to the end. We still had China out there.
I thought we were toward the tail end of the tariffs, and now last night happened, and now I don't know.
And then we wake up, and the futures are down sharply, even before the jobs number comes out, because of tariffs, right? The markets act as a restraint on the president. When has he pulled back on anything? It's been because he hasn't liked what the markets were doing. When the markets got yippy back in April after Liberation Day, right? That's when he put in the 90-day pause. So we are very lucky that we have the markets to kind of guide us and also to guide him and to maybe constrain him at moments when his actions maybe are not achieving what he would like.
But to Eamon's point, Steve Liesman, it's easy to forget that I don't know if you ever heard of Jerome Powell, but he's the chairman of the Federal Reserve. And Jerome Powell was appointed by who?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. And now Trump wants to remove him. So I'm not even sure it's who appoints somebody anymore.
Well, I mean, look, there are structures set up in the government for a variety of reasons. And Michelle really hit it, one of them. And sometimes you do it to create confidence in markets. You have an independent Federal Reserve, and it underpins and has been a reason for the success of the greatest, most liquid markets in the history of humankind. We have never seen anything like the amount of debt, the importance of the debt, and the way that the debt is traded and is a benchmark for risk-free trade all over the world in the history of humankind. That's one. Underpinning that, in addition, are the statistics that underpin the U.S. economy. We don't think much about it. It's like saying, hey, Brian, how's the plumbing in your house? We don't talk about that all that much unless, of course, you have a problem. And the statistics are part of the plumbing of the financial system in a way. It helps policy. It guides policy makers in terms of making the right policy. And it also tells us that what's happening underneath, and we can trust that data, that it's not manipulated by the government. And that's a key,
let me ask you this, because you know what? I just thought of this, Stephen, and then maybe Eamon, I'm sure, also knows. I don't know. It's not one of those questions where I actually know, and I have no clue. How does the number, Steve, get put together? Would one person have the ability to mess with it?
No, I don't think so, because my investigation of this several years ago is that there are a variety of offices all around the country. They feed into a variety of offices inside of Washington eventually, and it goes through multiple steps. And I believe that there are multiple steps along the way where if you were to diverge from what that data has told you from the bottom up, that it would be very difficult to keep that secret. In fact, I remember joking at the time, if the government was that good that it could pull off a conspiracy that wide, we ought to be giving government more to do, not less.